Hello. So happy New Year,
Yes, sir.
dear Ariel.
Absolutely. It is a new year,
Yeah,
for sure.
and it
This
is
is the year.
and it's a very special year, isn't it? What's starting now?
Man, this the year.
It's
My
the year,
goodness. Oh, wow.
2024.
Ah, That's unbelievable. I'm going to have Christmas every day.
Yeah.
Getting closer to the gift.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really nice.
Oh, man. Yes.
So
It's unbelievable.
yeah, so your last Christmas in prison, your last New Year in prison. That's all now.
It's done.
You can check the
It's done.
boxes.
It's done.
It's done.
Oh, man. My birthday's coming up soon, and then it's done. It's done.
It's done. Yeah. It will be your 49th, right?
I'll be 50.
50. Oh yes.
It'll be my golden anniversary.
Yeah. Okay. Still young. You will see.
Oh my goodness.
You can still do everything. You can do everything with 50.
Absolutely. I can do it.
Mm.
I can do it. What I want to put my hand to, I can do. And I know this in my mind. So yes, hope springs eternal. And I don't feel deterred in any way. I don't feel like I've lost anything. I may have not been able to do certain things, but I don't feel like I've quote unquote lost anything. Oh, you missed so much. Well, I just didn't get to do it. But here's opportunities now.
Yeah.
Coming around the mountain.
And look like there are people like, let's find some examples. For example, Alexander the Great. You know Alexander the Great?
Yes.
He was this great king and emperor in old antique Greece, and he won a world. How you say Weltreich in English? He gained a huge country.
Yeah, he was a conqueror. He gained an empire.
An empire. That's the right word. I was searching for empire. So he gained an empire, and he died, I think, with 30 or something, around 30. I'm not 100% sure, but he was very young. So he did huge. He did so much within 15 years, maybe, or something like that.
Yes.
And
yes.
Or let's take Mozart. The famous
Mozart, the composer.
Yeah, the composer. He died also with like 30 or 32 or something like that. We could check it. I'm not 100% sure, but he was very young when he died.
Somewhere around that age. Or take Jesus. He didn't.
Oh.
He only lived, or he only preached Jesus.
Yeah.
It's quote unquote historical Jesus. He only preached for 3 years.
3 years.
But look at the impacts.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years.
Wow.
Died at 33.
That's something.
Supposedly,
I didn't know that.
Look at the impacts left on the world. Yeah.
That's
3 years.
Yeah. So it's all open.
You think, wait a minute, so I missed something. 3 years, man.
So all chances are there.
Yes. Hope springs eternal. It's possible. So yes, it's possible. And I'm 50. So
yeah. And 50, we always say 50 is the new 40. If in our days, 50 is no age.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't even look at the age as even relevant. I feel like there's going to come a time of our expiration of our physical body, our earth suits, and when that time comes, hopefully you have lived a life worthy of reflection or memory for someone else left behind. So I'm just trying to go forward and live each day to its fullest, have it be wonder filled. And in that, it's a full life. So I'm living mine. I'm working on it.
Ariel, tell me now if this is now, let's say the last year, 2024, now starting in the place where you are, and I can imagine I remember once we had a talk about people leaving the prison, and that many people are afraid even of leaving the prison because it became a kind of home or a kind of shelter, you know. And
Yes.
and you told me, oh, but I am so keen on leaving and doing my life and so on. So are there people you leave behind? Do you know really something like friends or people you have really a relationship to now?
Oh yes, absolutely. There's a couple guys who I call my 30-year friends.
Yeah.
3, 4 in particular who I've known practically the entire time I've been here. One of them, in fact, one of them, the young man, one of them's like 72 years old. I call my old school. You know, he's one of the guys who helped, quote unquote, put my boots on,
Yeah.
learn me up about prison life, orientate me as to how to live in prison and not get killed, you know, and how to make some quality of this experience in spite of the experience. And another individual who was 17 was put on death row, litigated himself off, and then eventually came to population.
Yeah.
2 or 3 years after I got here, we became friends, and we have been acquaintances since.
Yeah.
And I've become fond of saying I don't have friends or enemies. I have teachers, but yeah, that's perspective. But another individual as well, who I met a couple years after I got here, we worked in a number of jobs together throughout the course of our time being here, and so and a fourth person who I went to school with here, we and as well as worked a number of jobs with, we have become close associates, and it's something to think that I'm gonna be leaving them, and I won't see them because they are quote unquote my childhood friends. They are my colleagues. They are my school buddies. They are my workmates.
Yeah.
And I'll no longer have them. So yeah, I'm going into a new school, so to speak, and I'm gonna have to make new friends, new associates.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
By getting out of prison.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then so you. What are your thoughts on if you get out? Can you stay in contact with them from time to time, or can you support them somehow? Yes. Then, or
I don't know what that'll look like. I have idea what it'll look like, but you know, until I get boots on the ground, really have time on target, so to speak. You know, be on the job. I'll figure it out. But yes, I'll certainly have contact with them. I'm not ever going to forget them. And I know the experiences that they're going through on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Just being in this place is dramatic as it is. And so and I'll miss them. And I'll feel that emotional tug for them still suffering, and me wanting to be able to just say hello, how are you, and give them some hope, as well as to relate some of my experiences to them. That's something I'll be doing when I'm on the street. So yeah, there'll be a means for me to be able to contact them, I'm sure. But the thing is about getting myself settled, foundated, and moving forward in society, and then all things else, those things to take care of themselves. I see them as not as recreational life things that you have time to do with extra time that you have when you're not taking care of life necessities. But yeah, I'm going to check on my friends.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and you told me that you want to work as this coach, and this will be especially
as a coach,
yeah, and a recovery coach, for the recovery program.
Yes.
And this will be in prisons. So you will be one of those who come from outside into the prison and work with the inmates?
Well, I'll probably more likely, I know I will. I will have left prison with a professional, with a credentialing that will allow me to work in an occupation that's growing in the world, and that's surrounding addiction recovery. It's about attempting to help people seeking recovery to recover from substance use or other addictions, and trying to find ways to help remove the obstacles and barriers to the recovery. So, yeah, and the training that I've gained, seeks to show one how to maintain certain ethical standards, self-disclosure, certain how to be self-care with other people, several other aspects related to recovery support. And
Okay. And Ariel, tell me if you now think about visualize being outside, and I'm sure that there are talks with other inmates about the challenges. What would you say are the biggest challenges in your fantasy, at least?
What are the challenges for me getting out of prison?
Yeah.
That I'll face in society? Well, the number one found that the challenge that one faces is having a economical means of support, essentially, to be able to sustain one's livelihood in society. Having been in prison, three things are guaranteed: your food, your clothing, and your housing are given to you by the state. Those things you don't have to worry about them. No matter what, they're going to be provided. However, on the flip side, once I cross the threshold of the prison, those are things that I am responsible for wholly, without fail. I have to find a place to live. I need to eat every day, and I need a means to be able to live and eat. So I need some income to be able to do those things without having a job, an occupation, having some organization or means to do so. I'm at a deficit in society. So yes, the number one issue is finding stability around economics. Usually that comes through a job, family or friend support, or if you lack those two things, a job, family, friend support, then you have to reach out to organizations, homeless shelters, non-government organizations, things as a source to be able to find a means of support. There are homeless people in society. A number of people who get out of prison find themselves homeless because they lack education, they lack drug, substance use issues, or because of their crimes, it poses an inability for them to find the necessary means to support themselves. And that is part of the reason that the recidivism rate is so high when individuals coming back to prison, surrounding their lack of education or their substance use. So that's the primary issue that I face is economic support. I see. Aside from that, I have, psychological trauma that I've experienced since I was a 13-year-old boy. The worst thing that ever happened to me was followed by the second worst thing that ever happened to me. I consider that to be the crime that I committed and being put in prison. Those things followed each other in succession. And the one, me being in prison, has not ended or stopped since it started. So
You have 1 minute remaining.
So I've been going through 30 plus years of trauma that I've been experiencing since I was an adolescent, and it's not been dealt with. I'm not having any therapy or any type of psychological analyzing from behavior therapists or anything while I've been in prison to help treat them. So that's something that I need, and I will seek.
Okay, that's really, I didn't know that you don't get any treatment there. Okay, that's really
no.
Then you have dealt with yourself. It makes me even more really appreciating what you did. You know, that how you could do this on your own. That's really big.
Yes. I know it's something that I need for my well-being, and it's something that I'm need just in terms of self-care in society, to be well-rounded and to have some semblance of, if you want to call it, normalcy. But yeah, it's something that I need. I know that I live in an abnormal environment, and to be able to be.
Thank you for using GTL.
So let's wait, hopefully, for another call from Ariel.
Okay, I'm back.
You're back. Very good.
Yes. So yes, I was saying that I know that I live in an abnormal environment, and to be functional in this environment, you have to take on some of that abnormality. Although it becomes day to day and it becomes part of one's personality, still, in society, your modus operandi or your everyday focus would be different in society than it would be in prison. And to think that I live amongst a collection of some of the most recalcitrant elements of society, or at least as society would deem them. Every day, people have done some of the most horrendous, atrocious things, and we're tasked with being sociable amongst this group of people who society says that they can't be functional in this space, so we need to put them in a different space. So how do you find a baseline of interaction with people who are deemed to be failures and persona non grata, so to speak? So yeah, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really. I mean, it's maybe a naive point of view from me, because I'm not in your situation, but I see that this is like a school again, also, because you learn really how to deal with human beings, because you can't.
Yes.
You can't. I had once a friend. He's very wealthy, and I told him, sometimes I think that money destroys or makes the character bad of people. But maybe it's a wrong belief, I said to him. And he says, no, it's a right belief, because if you have a lot of money, you can buy solutions. You don't have to compromise. You don't have to really go into the social interaction, because you just buy you out of that. And that's not good, because you don't learn something. And that was very interesting. And this is, now you are in the absolute opposite position, that you have always to deal with the people, because otherwise there's no escape, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I agree wholeheartedly with you. And I've never had money, but I can understand, as you said, just throwing money at a problem. You don't have to investigate or examine your innate character. Basically, something happens, you deal with it with money. You don't have to deal with yourself. Yeah. And I know the saying that some people are so poor, all they have is money. Some theological basis says the chances of a rich man getting into heaven is like a camel going through the eye of a needle.
Yes.
Because the money becomes the focus of one's life rather than themselves. And for me, I feel like the purpose of our life is to unwrap ourselves, to find out who we are, to investigate the self. I think Socrates said the unexamined life is not worth living. If we don't know thyself, if we don't find out who we are in this life, then we're going to have to do it in countless other lives, reiteration of the same. But yeah, so you're dealing with money, your focus is about the money and not yourself so much. And if humans are never told no, we become terrible people. Because if we can have everything our way, then we're some shithead people all the time. Excuse my French. It's not good. So we need to be told no, because it allows us to deal with the opposite of people saying yes, of us being placated or having our desires sated all the time. To deal with no allows us to say, well, it's not all about me, and maybe I need to think about other perspectives or opinions other than mine. So it's wow.
And
interesting.
It's interesting, and I think these kind of problems always start and this is, most of us think that we are our body, we are this material world. This material world is the reality. And I just stepped over or came to a new discussion, new podcasts. What interested me a lot. It's a pity that I can't send it to you, because you can't look at YouTube or so. And it's from I maybe tell you the story because it's fascinated me so much. It is an Italian-American entrepreneur and inventor also. His name is Federico Fagin. He's an Italian guy, but he lives now somewhere on the West Coast in the United States. And he is very interesting. He's a physicist, a quantum physicist, and he's also an inventor. He was the inventor of the first microchip computer. You know what you put into computers. So
Wow.
he invented for Intel the first microchip. So he's a
Wow.
legend, you know. And
Yes.
he tells the story that he had an enlightenment experience suddenly when he was like 40 or so, because he was sad. He thought, now I have gained everything. He had a big company. He's super wealthy. You know, he's a superman, yeah. But he was still sad. And he said, I'm supposed to be happy now. What's going on here? And then he had a kind of an enlightenment moment. Suddenly in the night, he woke up and went. He wanted to get a glass of water, and then he suddenly had this experience, and it was an experience of love. And it was like a white light of love coming out of his chest and going into the world. And he said, this is so strong, it cannot be coming from this body. It's something else. And then he had an experience of being the universe, but with one perspective, you know, one certain perspective, you know, point of view. But he experiencing itself with one certain point of view, one certain perspective. So this was one experience. And after that, he dedicated his life to the research of consciousness. And now what's so interesting is that he created now, together with another very world-renowned physicist, a theory that works with the quantum field. And he says that consciousness is something that is absolutely exclusive. So I never will experience your consciousness, Ariel, and you never will experience my consciousness. Yeah, so it's something kind of exclusive point of view. And he said, and exactly the same works in the quantum theory. So there is what he calls quantum information, and he says it sounds so totally crazy, but only the quantum system itself can know this information. But who is that knowing then? You know. And so he says that it seemed to be that a quantum field is consciousness, and he says that the quantum field is more fundamental than the classical physics, you know, the classical world. So he says that he believes that we are quantum fields, and our body, our physical world is, and he calls it a symbol. You know, one expression, one symbol of the quantum field. Isn't that interesting? But I have to. I can't explain it really deep, but yeah.
I got something out of that, though. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of conversations that I can engage in all day. That I would like to hear.
I know.
Because I feel like it grows my consciousness and helps me to understand myself and my experience in this physical world. But as you were saying that, I was reading something yesterday in the Theosophical Society's magazine, and it was talking about H.P. Blavatsky, who was a founder of the Theosophical Society. She talked about light, and that we are only focused beings of light. We're condensed beings of light, and that's all we are, is light. And we come basically from another realm into this dimension. Yeah. And we are shining, so to speak, in this realm. And our experience of lighting this world is our interactions. We identify with the body, but it's really just our light shining. Some of our lights are dim, some of our lights are a little brighter, but to the extent that we can understand or be able to see or become aware of our light, the light that we are in this experience, that in and of itself is the whole purpose of our lives, is to get back to the light. Almost like I always use Christian theology to try to explain things, because that is the reference most people have and they can better understand it. But it's almost like taking on the Christ mind. And for me, Christ is merely a consciousness, the God consciousness, the divine overarching consciousness that is everything and everybody, that is the life force that drives everything, that is sentient, that gives it its energy. When we can get in touch with that thing of what it is in its essence, all thing else is canceled. It doesn't even matter. It's almost like we become part of the source again. The drop of water goes back into the ocean instead of the drop of water thinking it is the ocean. In fact, it is the ocean, but it's not the totality of it. It is just merely of just a bit of it. But once it becomes aware of itself, it realizes that, hey, yeah, I am the ocean, but I am part of the larger part of it as well. So, and that is us. That's how I see our conscience, or I see me. Me attempting to try to detach from this physical thing that I identify as I. This is not me. No.
Yeah.
This is only the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, the vessel that is carrying the light.
Yeah.
It's water in the cup.
Yeah. And and what these type of thoughts or teachings we know since thousands of years from the ancient philosophies, from the Indians or from the Kogis, as I told you once. And so there's a lot of knowledge, or from the Buddhists and so on. But what fascinates me so much is that now the science comes to the same conclusions finally. That's so interesting.
Yes.
And if you now take, for example, the example with the water, with the drop of water, there's one idea, what they call the part whole. It means that there is the whole in the part. Yeah. And this is why they have, for example, there is one theory, quantum theory. They call it the holographic universe. And
holographic universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know about that? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes, sir.
It's the whole universe, and even in any part, and it also, it's really. So here we are.
They say that we are the universe.
Yeah,
each one of us are the universe.
Yeah.
Though you were looking up in the sky and you've seen the stars, each one of us is a star that makes up the totality of that galaxy. Or if you look at pebbles and sands on the beach, we are the totality of that sand, even in its its parts, its particle self. We are that sand on the beach.
Yeah.
We are a universe in and of ourselves that are part of a whole. We come together to form the thing that we would identify as its being. But we are, in and of ourselves, the totality of a universe. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
we have all possibilities and probabilities engaged within us. We are it.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I use Christian theology. They talked about the Emmanuel, God with us.
Mm-hmm.
We are God. We're not the God, but we are God. We are the manifestation of God in this physical plane. Each one of us. Mm-hmm. We are nothing less. If God is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, then we can be nothing less.
Yeah.
We have to be. If in fact that's true. So it's because if we weren't, we would diminish the power even of that saying or of that authority. On the one hand, you say God is everything, but I'm not it. I'm not God.
Yeah.
How can that be?
How can that be? That's a good point. Although I think
I have to be God.
Yeah, but although I think the Catholic theology separates God. He says they don't like the pantheism. They don't like this idea that God is within everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's I see that as part of control and power, and of the organization itself. The Pope is the vicar of Christ here, not you. I can't be saying I'm Christ.
Yeah.
It takes the power of the Pope. Matter of fact, during the Inquisition, they might come and see me. They might rack and quarter me. I might go in the dungeon or something. I say that.
Yeah.
I'm God. Get him. Like, what did you say? That's heretical.
And that's because
you have 1 minute remaining.
Oh, lady.
Okay. Because there's this word hierarchy. You know that word, and that's how the church works. It's very hierarchical. So the Pope is the only one. Let's say like the one source, the one connection to God, and then from him everything goes. And hierarchy is a Greek word and means the holy beginning. So hieros, hiera means holy, and arche means beginning. So the holy beginning. So it's all about the beginning.
Wow.
And it's so interesting because then there's the other word, monarchy. Monarchy. So where the old system in Europe when they had kings and
King Charles.
Yeah, and what the word means is one beginning. Monos arche, only one beginning. So it means only through the one guy, everything only through one person.
Wow.
This is the power system.
Still think that
Thank you for using GTL.
So, I'm sorry, that's Ariel and me. We have just some really interesting conversations, and I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. But that's what we both enjoy, talking about these things. So it seems that there is no third call today. So thank you very much for listening. please support Ariel. As you hear it, he will need money for starting his new life outside of the prison. So there is a GoFundMe account in the link. So it would be great if you can donate something for Ariel. If you appreciate our work, please donate. It's all money goes 100% to Ariel. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Happy New Year to everybody, and take care.